Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims, Grizzly Bear Farms, and gameplay on Old Streams map. This is episode 2, and we're basically picking up where we left off, or pretty close to it. We went ahead and moved the combine back down to the main farm, and so now we're pulling the grain out. We moved the combine header and the combine again back to the main farm, parked it for now, and we're going to move our grain back and go ahead and dump that into our silo for now again, and fix the F1 menu, but not permanently. I can't find a updated mod for HUD hider. The one that I'm using is by Claude, CLOD, and it does not appear to have been updated yet, so maybe just maybe um, that will be soon to go. Just noticed here there are directional signs. That's pretty cool. So in front of us, Grunswald. Um, can't pronounce that other name. And then slaughterhouse, biogas, the artesian, and biomass heating plant. So that's pretty cool to have that. Have little street signs that says where stuff is. That helps us old guys like myself remember which direction to go. It would be nice if Giants would release I guess it would be, for lack of a better description, some kind of pack of vehicles um, that would better resemble European style automobiles, vehicles, and such. Because seem to see a lot of Ford pickups and other kind of cars driving around. And those chickens do get in your way. All right, let's see how we can do this without making too big of a mess or embarrassing ourselves too much. You know, kind of like bell handling, and I talked about this in the bell review mod that I did, 5 minutes or less thing, is that slow and steady wins the race each and every time. So even backing up, you know, a map that's tight like this, if you sort of practice where you're coming in from, and I think, you know, it's handy to drive through, try to get yourself aligned as best as possible, and then oh cool, attic, and then obviously slow and steady will help you out each and every time. Alright, so I need to figure out where I want to park this tipper for now. I've got our combine over there on the other side, only because I have been using this as a pull-through to get to the farm. So I will drop this here. It kind of makes sense to leave it next to the where the combine is. And I will go ahead and I think what we're going to do, what are we going to do? What do we need to do? I think what we need to do is we need to go and pick up our baler, and we need to go ahead and go bale that straw, because that way we can kind of complete the process of harvesting that wheat by going ahead and getting that straw off the field before somebody comes along and collects it for us, but without our benefit, of course. And nothing coming that way, nothing coming that way, and we're off. Oops, where did he come from? Anyway, it would be nice if there were a pack of, you know, vehicles that were more for European. I mean, I'm a appreciative of giants that they have sort of recognized that a lot of folks from the North American region play Farm Sim, because we're starting to see some things that look less um, European, some equipment and such. Um, the baler. We want the baler, Jerry. We want the baler. And this is part of that pack of balers that I showed you on the Blacksheep Modding site. This is a Fendt baler being pulled by a Massey tractor. Hopefully that's not committing too many sins. But I like these small, quaint little villages. And by the way, we are baling square, at least for now. I may, well, we're going to do grass for silage, I think, just because that's a little bit better for now. We can turn off our blinkers, and let's go ahead and unfold the baler. Turn it on. And lower our pickup. We, as I may have said in the first episode, we did, or I did, I need to stop saying we because you're not playing, I'm the one that's playing. I did upgrade some of the equipment, some of the starting equipment. I sold the pickup truck just because I couldn't think of anything that I would use it for on this map. You know, I am using from time to time the pickup truck on Goldcrest Valley, just because it sort of fits the storyline that's going on there. It's also, you know, it's also an American map, and that's an American pickup truck. And not that there aren't, you know, full-size Fords and Chevys being used in Europe, because I've seen them. Not seen them on farms, but I've at least seen them being driven. But here on this small of a map, and again, sort of the storyline and everything that's going on here, I just couldn't really find a practical use for it. And so, you know, I could have just left it parked where it was, but, you know, I sort of figured, well, I would sell it if, you know, I know that there's some modded European style vehicles. You know, if it gets to a point to where that I think I need something other than a tractor on this map, then I may look into one of those. But for now, this will do just fine driving around via a tractor. What's common in your neck of the woods as far as baling goes? Is it mostly, is it square baling? Is it round baling? Is it basically a mixture of of both? I mean, um, I'm not a real life farmer. I have I have stacked my share of square hay bales, nothing of this size, obviously, but the smaller size hay bales, which were commonplace in the part of rural Texas where I grew up. Um, I don't know that we ever saw anything quite this size. I think anything that was in the large capacity category as far as bales were round bales. Of course, those you could not handle those uh, by hand, but the smaller square bales you could. One man could grab a hold and move it just fine. Um, but I'm kind of curious. I mean, what do you see? And is there practice and room for utilizing both? And what would those I guess what would those opportunities be like if you use both, and for what? You know, I've always stuck with one or the other. It's kind of interesting because in 17 I've played mostly with square bells, just because it's a little faster. The process is faster in producing the bell itself, because you don't have to stop. Um, that Corona, the Corona baler that came out for Farming Sim 15, 6 months or a year ago or so, whenever that was a pretty cool baler, because it had that pre-bell chamber, and it also did the silage wrapping as well, and you could just basically, you could drive that thing as at its top speed, and you never had to stop. Um, Obviously, with the round baling, you have to stop after it fills up and unload it. There is a mod that is available out there, and I think I saw it on Modding Central, where it basically does the unloading and closing of the baler by itself. That piece is automated, but you still have to remember to stop, brake and stop. So I'm just curious. What other folks are doing, on their farms. Are you utilizing square bales because the cost, the total cost of ownership and everything of getting into, I'm sorry, round bales. Are you doing round bales because of cost? Because obviously it's cheaper to get a round baler than it is to get a square baler. Um, with as I've demonstrated in Goldcrest Valley with bale handling, when I sort of demonstrated the Kerfab bale fork that Blacksheep Modding has done a very good job of. I showed that you can lift up 4 bells at a time. About the most that I have been able to grab of round bells are basically 2 at a time. So certainly, and because the volume of those bells are the same, from a bell handling perspective and efficiencies and all that kind of stuff, I suppose square bells are better. Maybe from a storage perspective, again, even though they have the same volume, 4,000 liters for both square and round, I think that you can potentially stack more square bells into an area than you can round bells. But again, the cost of getting the baling equipment and everything for round bells is cheaper than square bells. is there, is there an application for both? And how do you manage that on your virtual farm? Are you doing straw, maybe like in square bales, and then baling your hay and maybe your grass for silage wrapping, obviously in round bales? I have yet to see a silage wrapper for square bales. There was one that was pretty good for square bales in 15, but I have yet to see that for 17, at least as of yet. But the game's only been out for a little over a month, and just look at what we have. Just look at what we have available to us in the form of mods. I mean, I think I mentioned this in I mentioned this early in one of my early videos of Goldcrest Valley. I talked about the fact that I had sort of asked around with some of the folks that had been around through the FS13 to FS15 days, and I asked them, I'm like, okay, what's the expectation here? Are we talking about a couple of weeks to seeing mods? Are we talking about months? What was the transitional period between 13 and 15? And there was sort of mixed information that came about. And I think that things like courseplay, as an example, the reason why courseplay has taken a little bit longer than maybe we would have all wanted, was just the simple fact that there are some significant differences between 15. Oops, I've got some kind of issue there. There are significant differences between 15 and 17, and it just took time for those to to get worked out, to be addressed. And it's okay. It's okay, because I think many of us, regardless of whether you make YouTube videos or not, I think that there was a significant, just enjoyment factor of taking in all of the unique changes with Farm Sim 17, and just spending a little bit of time, some quality time maybe, in playing 17 and playing it sort of, the default way. And let's see if I can get this in there tight. So I don't know. There we go. That's good enough for me. I'm not sure where we're going to stack. I'm not sure where we're going to stack straw, to be honest with you. May put some straw in there. May move that water tanker, and put, where are we? May put some straw in here. It sort of makes a bit of sense. So what do we have going on here? So this looks like this is our cleanliness. Is this cleanliness area, or is this, no, that's manure. That is manure for the pigs. I think these are pigs. Are these pigs? Yeah, looks like pigs to me. So there's where we need to clean up, and then that's our manure drop over there for our pigs. And then of course liquid slurry there. So I don't know. I'll sort that out, obviously, off camera, and figure out where is best. It might be in these, stack hay on one side, straw on the other, and obviously we've got our silage, and do our TMR and everything, and then obviously deliver that over here to our cows. We've got milk. I believe the stop milk cell is built into this map. We'll have to just see what happens at midnight to see if it automatically sells or if we need to do something about it. But yeah. So we will just kind of have to see how that goes. All right, let's see. Where are we? We're 20 minutes. I think what we can do is, at least for a few minutes, we'll take a few minutes to do this, is we will get in our Massey again, and there are our mowers there. We're going to need to mow some grass, but we're not going to do that in this video. We'll do that in another video, but I will at least get this set up. That was too fast. There we go. And I'll try not to do every single job in the Massey. I wonder if we need a bit of a front weight on this thing. We'll see how that goes. So let's see. Let's take a look at our map and see where we want to maybe go and mow some grass. So grass field number 2 is obviously very close by. That's just next to field 3. So let's go take a look at that. Come on. Track IR sometimes has a mind of its own. The chickens, I wish the chickens were maybe in a little area that was to themselves. Not necessarily a proponent of locking chickens up in cages or anything, but and I know it's just a game, and I know it really doesn't hurt them to run over them, but they're kind of like, you know, just going everywhere. So alright, this is a nice size field. We'll for at least a few minutes we will go ahead and cut this. So let's unfold. I love this mower pack, or this mower setup. It's not a pack per se. Try to square this up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier for tethering and for raking. Yeah, I still enjoy mowing grass. I know I've talked about that plenty of times on Goldcrest. And yeah, I still enjoy mowing grass. It's kind of a peaceful thing to do. You know, we've got so much grass on our farm here that you know, we don't have to really get too close to those trees or anything like that. I plowed field number 3 off camera, just sort of in my map preparation processes of just sort of playing around, getting things set up kind of the way that I wanted them set up. And as I've said before, you know, there's no right or wrong way there's no right or wrong way to enjoy Farm Sim 17. You can do it in career mode if you want to, and sort of play the way the map designer intends you to play. In other words, with the starting equipment and the starting money and the starting bank loan and all that stuff. And that's fun to do, and I highly recommend that you do that. I highly recommend that you know, at least once. And I would even go so far as to say, you know, do it in 17, even though you may have had experience with 15. Do it in 17. Do it in 17 to learn the differences. What we'll do is I will finish up this mowing here on this episode, and then we'll come back and do the rest of the stuff that we need to do. We'll decide. Maybe what we'll do is maybe we will just rake this and pick this up. Oops. Pick this up and dump this in our silage bunker and start getting some silage going. Because we've got, as I said, we've got plenty of grass fields. We've got access to plenty of grass on this map, and so we can do, you know, I'll mow and you know, make grass for hay and stuff. Do that off camera. By the way, speaking of grass and silage, there is a bit of a misconception out there in the community, even, you know, almost, well, over a month after the fact of the release of 17, that you can't make silage out of grass, and that is not true. You can. I think somehow or another the rumor got started, and it just sort of perpetuated itself for whatever reason, that Giants had changed the game complexity up to a point to where that only silage could be made out of either corn or, you know, chopped wheat or barley or whatever, but silage can be made out of grass. You just have to remember, and I think maybe this is where some of the confusion came from, and maybe it's sort of, you know, maybe I see it happening like this, is that, you know, somebody went and cut some grass in 17 and collected it up and went to go dump it in the silage bunker, and they didn't get the regular I option to tip. Instead, you have to do Control I. You have to tip anywhere. Excuse me. And you have to do that with chopped corn, chaff, or any of the others as well. So it doesn't treat it as its own. You know, it's not a sell point or like a grain dump point like you have for your silos. All right. Another task completed. We're at 30 minutes, so that only took about 10 minutes to do. I will, I'm probably going to go mow another field or two just while I've got all of this kit set up, and we'll do that off camera and then come back and probably with you for the next episode, we'll probably do gather up the grass back there and start silage production. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in for my videos, both Goldcrest Valley, Stevie's Edit, as well as Old Streams Farm here by Blacksheep Modding. This is a beautiful map. It's fun to play, and I highly recommend that you check it out. And you'll have the links and everything down below in the show notes as always. And thank you for watching, and thanks for coming back again next time I post a video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.